Good morning. The earnings season has now started in earnest. Welcome to another session of Earnings through NLP. Today the machines are checking the analyst calls from BlackRock, Infosys, Fastenal Company and Delta Airlines.
BlackRock announced results on April 13, 2022. Interesting facts picked up from the call. Usage of Aladdin by financial advisors is up 40%. Company generated $6 billion net inflows in alternatives across liquid and illiquid strategies, driven by private credit infrastructure and liquid alternative offerings. Building 3 large infrastructure funds is part of the growth strategy area. The company cash management platform saw outflows of $27 billion, while ETFs generated inflows of $56 billion. SG&A was down 12% because of lower promotion, professional services and occupancy expenses, partially offset by higher technology spending. Machines also focused on the more qualitative remarks by management, flagging the following. U.S. bond market has seen one of the worst quarters on record, as bonds were quick to price in the Fed's rate hikes. If cash and money markets started yielding 2%, then one would see a shift from longer durations into them. Clients are interested in working with fewer partners who could provide more, and BlackRock is well positioned to take advantage of this opportunity. Earlier this week, BlackRock made a minority investment in Circle, a global internet payment firm and issuer of USD Coin. Increasingly seeing clients looking to optimize portfolio returns at a lower cost by selecting fewer managers. Finally, we drilled down on specific items to see if there was enough relevant information. On problems they see in the market, the company thinks that Ukraine invasion is leading to an acceleration of reassessing supply chains. On energy prices, the company believes that high energy prices are going to accelerate the decarbonization technologies. On investing, BlackRock remains focused on investing in Aladdin. On sales, the company mentioned that areas like ESG and alternatives, which are doing well today, were not significant contributors only a few years ago. Last, we used sentiment analysis to see how the analyst call sounded about specific topics. About sales, the sentiment was 50% positive. About growth, the sentiment was 88% positive. About costs, the sentiment was 57% positive. About investments, the sentiment was 87.5% positive.
A short look at how algorithms on Mark's Sign Algo simulate company trading identifies algorithm buy sign 001 as the best algorithm for buy and hold, with a 159.97% return over the last 5 years while being 56% of the time in cash.
Infosys announced results on April 13, 2022. Interesting facts picked up from the call. Company is currently working 95% remote. Infosys is net hiring 22,000 people to support growth of 13% to 15% going forward. Margins guidance of 21% to 23%. The company's digital revenues now account for 59.2% of our company and they grew at 41.2% for the year. Machines also focused on the more qualitative remarks by management, flagging the following. Within digital, the cloud work is growing faster. The company sees good demand in financial services, which is our largest industry segment there. Finally, we drilled down on specific items to see if there was enough relevant information. On sales, the company gained market share in fiscal 22, growing on the back of close to 20% growth. On costs, the subcontractor costs were a massive headwind. On market demand, they continue to see strong demand as a result of digital disruptions across industries. On outlook, the company is guiding for 13% to 15% in fiscal 23. Last, we used sentiment analysis to see how the analyst call sounded about specific topics. About sales, the sentiment was 50% positive. About costs, the sentiment was 75% negative. About growth, the sentiment was 91% positive. About outlook, the sentiment was 100% positive.
A short look at how algorithms on Mark's Sign Algo simulate company trading identifies algorithm buy sign 001 as the best algorithm for buy and hold, with a 53.09% return over the last 5 years while being 61% of the time in cash.
Fastenal Company announced results on April 13, 2022. Interesting facts picked up from the call. Pricing contributed 580 to 610 basis points to growth in the first quarter, reflecting actions taken to offset inflation. 75% of the branches and on-site were growing in the first quarter. Company continues to anticipate net capital spending of $180 million to $200 million. Operative administrative costs have gone from 26.7% to 25.5%. Machines also focused on the more qualitative remarks by management, flagging the following: price contributions to remain high in the second quarter, before running into tougher comparisons as the company moves into third and fourth quarters. The company also sees customers managing supply chain issues more successfully than 6 months ago. They are also seeing supply chains slowly normalizing. Finally, we drilled down on specific items to see if there was enough relevant information. On demand, company is flagging impact from Shanghai lockdown, tight labor markets and the war in Ukraine. On working capital, the company flagged that product availability has been at a premium on the back of various supply chain constraints and robust customer demand. Last, we used sentiment analysis to see how the analyst calls sounded about specific topics. About sales, the sentiment was 65% negative. About spending, the sentiment was 60% positive. About growth, the sentiment was 53% negative. About outlook, the sentiment was 50% positive.
A short look at how algorithms on Marks Sign Algo simulate company trading identifies algorithm buy sign 002 as the best algorithm for buy and hold, with a 89.7% return over the last 5 years while being 85% of the time in cash.
Delta Airlines announced results on April 13, 2022. Interesting facts picked up from the call. CapEx outlook of about $6 billion is unchanged. At 12% to 14% operating profit, the company is only 4 points behind June 2019 operating margins, despite fuel prices being 50% higher. Domestic corporate sales improved to around 70% of 2019 levels. 20% of the refinery production is jet and goes directly to the New York operations, while the rest is diesel and gasoline. 58% of total revenues came from premium products and non-ticket revenues in the March quarter. Machines also focused on the more qualitative remarks by management, flagging the following: corporate fares inflected positively versus 2019 for the first time in March. To date, premium recovery has been driven by the consumer, and the company sees further upside as more and more business travelers start flying again. Company also sees stronger demand for flying when China starts coming online. The company also expects to continue seeing premium seat growth outpacing the main cabin. On labor market, they see it being a bit tighter as they enter the second quarter. Finally, we drilled down on specific items to see if there was enough relevant information. On sales, the company is running ahead in terms of absolute bookings domestically. On outlook, the company is expecting restricted markets like Japan and China to put pressure on the Asia-Pacific market. On yields, they are expecting April yields to be up double digits when compared to 2019. On spending, the company expects a very strong summer. Transatlantic is leading the long-haul flight demand. Last, we used sentiment analysis to see how the analyst call sounded about specific topics. About sales, the sentiment was 83% positive. About prices, the sentiment was 86% positive. About costs, the sentiment was 78% negative. About outlook, the sentiment was 60% positive.
A short look at how algorithms on Marks Sign Algo simulate company trading identifies algorithm buy sign 002 as the best algorithm for buy and hold, with a 45.95% return over the last 5 years while being 65% of the time in cash. I hope you found today's updates helpful. If you want to learn how to build your own algorithms, you can check our free YouTube channel where we post hands-on courses about how to build them, or get the book that is looking at multiple types of investment algorithms, or feel free to check our small group customized lessons for something more personalized.